Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good day. In this episode of the Music Den, I'm going to be giving you my top three Aerosmith albums of the 70s. Um, this was not an easy list to put together, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Everyone knows who Aerosmith is. Rock band, formed in Boston, Massachusetts in 1970. Steven Tyler, lead vocals, various instruments. Joe Perry, rhythm and lead guitar, various instruments. Joey Kramer, drums and percussion. Tom Hamilton, lead and rhythm guitar, various instruments. And Brad Whitford on lead and rhythm guitar and also various instruments. Signing with Columbia Records in 1972. It was between Columbia Records and Atlantic Records that were going to sign them, but Clive Davis saw a promise and he offered them a good deal, and they decided to go with him. They released their debut album January 5th, or 1973, sorry, um, self-titled, featuring the hits, well, the one hit single, Dream On. Other songs of note on that album were Mama Kin, which has been performed quite regularly in concert. Um, what to say about Aerosmith? They went on to release uh, 14 more albums over the years. The most recent album is Music from Another Dimension. They have recently announced that they're doing one more tour and they are splitting up. They have also been in the public eye for their fighting as much as for their musical achievements. Okay. Um, Again, this was not an easy list to put together. Um, I wasn't going to pick the first album because I don't think that, aside from Dream On and Mama Kin, I don't think that the album um, is their best album. Produced by Adrian Barber. Uh, Joe Perry, in his biography, had said that they did not get along well with Adrian Barber, so they moved on to Jack Douglas and released Get Your Wings as a sophomore release. And then they started to slowly ascend, in popularity. Um, so without further ado, I am going to give you my top three Aerosmith albums. Coming in at number three, and again, this was not an easy list to put together, even for only three albums, is Get Your Wings. Released March 15th, 1974, produced by Jack Douglas uh, and Ray Calcord, I should say. Sorry. Um, this album, even though it's a sophomore release, does mark a departure. It is much more guttural. It is much more down. How can I put this? Much more hungry, much more down low in terms of um, wanting to write just good old fashioned balls against the wall rock music. And this is not the Aerosmith of the 1980s or 90s. This is the Aerosmith that people would come to know and love more than the stuff they did in the 80s and 90s and beyond. Very guttural, very in your face rock and roll. Starts off with the same old song and dance, written by Steven Tyler and Joe Perry. Steven Tyler would write a bulk of the early albums, bulk of the material on the early albums. After that, you have Lord of the Thighs. Just again, Tyler and his penchant for innuendo. It was always there. Also, we have Spaced, which is another good track. Woman of the World, SOS, Too Bad, fantastic. Their version of Train Kept a Rollin', which I think every rock band in the 60s and 70s did. as an homage to the blues. Train Kept a Rolling, written by Tiny Bradshaw, Howard Kay, and Lois Mann. Fantastic. Seasons of Wither, another fantastic track. And um, the final track, Pandora's Box, written by Tyler and Joey Kramer. I was surprised to find out that Kramer and uh, Tom Hamilton and Brad Whitford contributed more to the earlier albums than they did in the 80s, in the 90s, and beyond, which I find quite surprising. That is number three. It is a good album, but is it their best? In my opinion, no, no. Coming up, number two, coming in at number two, I should say, is Toys in the Attic. Released April 8th, 1975. Uh, this, for some, is considered to be Aerosmith's breakthrough album, and it should be considered that. Selling 9 million copies in the US, going platinum in Canada, which is 100,000 copies. Um, Fantastic. It's a fantastic album. The title track, you know, um, Uncle Salty, you know, Adam's Apple. Okay, all these fa- fantastic tracks. A lot of rhythm guitar, heavy slide guitar as well. Just again, balls to the wall, rock, not pop, rock. Okay. Uh, Maybe because this is the album that does contain Walk This Way. It's been played to death on radio. It's still a staple on FM classic radio. Uh, and also, I think the fact that the you know the first version I heard of this was the Run DMC duet, and I think it kind of ruined it for me because it was played all over Much Music when it first came out in '86, and at that point, people thought Aerosmith were back. I mean, they had released Done with Mirrors, that didn't do so well on Geffen Records, and this version of the duet version of Walk This Way would be a good lead up to Permanent Vacation coming out a year later. Um, I like this version. I do. I like it better. Um, yeah, it's kind of ruined it for me because I've heard the Run DMC version to death, right? Um, but anyways, moving on. Their cover of Big 10-inch record. Uh, just a good bluesy boogie kind of track, right? Side two leads off with Sweet Emotion. Uh, what else can be said about that track except that, uh, Tyler wrote that in response to a woman that Joe Perry was dating at the time, that he would eventually marry, that Tyler did not like at all. Other tracks of note on this album: No More, No More. Beautiful, heavy, a lot of rhythm guitar, a lot of texture, a lot of guitar textures, heavy walls of guitars that come in on this. Round and Round is another one, is a good one. Again, same thing, written by Tyler and Brad Whitford. Beautiful, beautiful track. You See Me Crying ends off the album, which was a single um, from the album, the third single. You know, good album, good album. Some people say that that this album is um, Aerosmith's seminal album. It's their best. Again, selling 9 million copies in the U.S., going platinum in Canada. This put them on the map. It did. Uh, is it their best? Meh. I don't know. I think overplay is what's killing it for me. But there is one more. Coming in at number one is Rocks. released May 3rd, 1976. Their fourth release. There's a lot that can be said about this album. Um, it is low down, dirty, sexual, sensual, sleazy, guttural, bottom of the barrel rock, but done in such a way that it is fan bloody tastic. Okay. Starts off with Back in the Saddle. Just that intro on the guitar and that the chugging rhythm guitar that comes in and the drums, just as it builds and builds and builds. Amazing. Amazing. Heavy drums. Heavy effing drums. To me, like you would not believe. Unreal. Unreal. Um, and Tyler's vocals on this one track alone, just screeching, on the intro, just amazing. Last Child, second track, another one, beautiful, beautiful. Rats in the Cellar goes right for the throat. It comes out of the gate charging with a fast rhythm, and it just grabs you by the throat and squeezes till your eyes bulge out of your head, and you're like, holy shit. And they're like saying, we're here, get bloody used to it. We're not going away anytime soon. Other songs ends off with, of note for me, ends off with the side one, ends with the Perry written track combination. Beautiful, just beautiful. Co-lead vocals with him and Steven Tyler. Side two starts off with Sick as a Dog, featuring Tyler on six-string bass. Just beautiful. Nobody's Fault is next, another single. Great. Just, up next is track 3, Get the Let Out. Just, again, balls to the wall rock. I love it. I love it. Next up, Licking a Promise. Right? I mean, again, this is Tyler doing his beautiful, his most innuendo best. You know what I mean? Just with the subtleties. And it ends with Home Tonight, featuring Joey Kramer on background vocals. To me, Rocks, it just seemed with Rocks that they hit their stride and they were going to go for the throat. They were down, they were dirty, they were dangerous live. Um, this band used groups like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin as inspiration for what they were going to do musically. And with Rocks, it bloody fits. More so with regards to the Stones and Zeppelin than the Beatles. But at this point, they had hit their stride. Their concerts were mammoth. They were, loud. They took no prisoners when they performed live. Amazing. I saw Aerosmith with Motley Crue in 05 with a friend, October the 2nd, with my friend Diana in Toronto. And it was Tommy Lee's birthday that night. It was a Sunday night. I remember this. And Motley Crue came on first. Couldn't understand a word they were singing or the music. The PA system stunk. Unreal. Aerosmith came on, blew everybody out of the water. Just amazing. Over the top, and they knew how to deliver. To me, Rocks is Aerosmith in their prime. Amazing. So please check out these albums. And if you haven't, I'm sure you have, you can obviously stream them. You can get them easily on Amazon or anywhere you get music. So once you do, put down your top three albums for me, or if you know these albums, put them down, or if you have other albums you want to put down on a list, put them down in the comments below. Let me know what you think of Aerosmith. What are your top three albums? And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. And this was a good episode to put together. It was difficult to pick the albums that I wanted to talk about. Um, but once I did, I'm not sorry that I picked these. These are fantastic albums. So please, again, let me know what your top three Aerosmith albums are. And click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content that I've got coming up. I am doing a video with Peter Kent on Saturday. We're going to be talking about bands that people think are great, but we think they're okay. We are also going to be doing Peter Kent, myself, Bill Schuster, his son Neil, and Ryan Gavalier. We are going to get together and do a Black Sabbath album ranking. 19 albums. It's going to be a long show. So when you tune in for that, and I hope you do, get a pillow, get a blanket, get some food, get a drink, get a hot toddy. You know what I mean? And just lay back and enjoy the show. So for now, I will say goodbye. Please look after yourselves and one another. I am Armando Venditti saying see you soon. Bye for now.